In the beginning of this story, we see a car driver who is driving his car in heavy fog when suddenly a superhero who was fighting with a villain hits his car with great force. But that superhero does not give up and stands back up. But that villain came back and he started beating that hero very badly. And just when it seemed that the superhero was about to lose, then he used his special technique and he made his hand bigger and hit the villain with it, due to which the villain fell on the ground and he got defeated. After the fight ends, a girl wearing a mask comes to that place and takes two new comic books for her collection. After some time, we see a boy named Mike who came to the store to buy a new part of his favorite comic book, but he gets a book named Crying Man as a gift. Mike is walking while reading that book, due to which he collides with a girl, Lucy, who was the most beautiful girl in Mike's school. After talking to Lucy, he comes to know that she is going to a party, after which Mike comes to his home and convinces his mother to let him go to that party. After some time, the Crying Man book was finished, and as soon as he finishes it, he comes out of that book. Mike was very surprised by this. Mike takes him to his room, but then the Crying Man's foot hits Mike's toy, due to which the toy breaks. Now the Crying Man feels very bad about this, and he starts crying. His tears start destroying Mike's whole room, and he starts crying. His tears start destroying Mike's whole room, and the Crying Man goes away on his own. Immediately after which, Mike goes to his friend Nick and tells him how the Crying Man came out of the book, but Nick doesn't believe it, so Mike tries to call out the Crying Man again. But this time, nothing happens, and Nick also calls her a liar and leaves from there. But as soon as Nick leaves from there, the Crying Man comes out of the book and saves Nick, who was about to hit the track. And after this, he leaves from there, taking those two friends with him. The same night, we see that Black Knight goes to a house who had gone to steal a comic book, but he accidentally sets the entire house on fire. Then Crying Man and Mike also arrive there, and they start going into the house to help. The Black Knight is searching for the book all over the house. Then he hears the crying voice of a girl who was trapped in the house today. Black Knight goes to help him, but now the fire increases a lot, and he himself was quite scared. But then the Crying Man comes into the room, reducing the fire with the help of his tears, and saves both the Black Knight and the girl. But after coming out, everyone starts praising the Black Knight because everyone thought that it was the Black Knight who had saved them. But then, by mistake, the Black Knight returns to the burning house. And this time, it was becoming very difficult for him to get out because now the fire had spread a lot. Then Mike said the Crying Man to bring a tsunami in the water. And the Crying Man also uses his full power, due to which they all come out, and the fire in that entire house also gets extinguished. But the Crying Man gets very tired and goes back to his book. But Mike falls straight on the ground, but Black Knight somehow saves him. And then Black Knight goes to Dirk, the owner of his book, who had sent the Black Knight to that house only for his collection of books. The next day, Nick comes to Mike's house and they both decide to test the Crying Man's abilities, from which we can know how strong the Crying Man is. They then learn that the sadder the Crying Man is, the stronger he will become, and Nick will also get tired of using his ability. Since both of them are connected to their brains, the three of them decide to take a little rest. Then Nick tells that the author of the Crying Man comic book has written many other books also. So they all decide to buy all the books of that author, but we find out that Dark is already planning to steal the Crying Man comic book. From here, the scene shifts, and we see the Podo who were brought there by a lady, and she wants to take revenge from her neighbors. But then Hero, Gravity, and Mask Girl come there, whom we saw in the beginning, and he stops Podo. On the other side, Nick makes Mike wear a costume so that no one can recognize him, and together with the Crying Man, he can do his work. And Nick wanted to just make a video of all that and put it on his channel. And Mike also understands this, and an argument ensues between them, due to which Nick leaves from there. The same Mask Girl defeats that lady with the help of her hero, Gravity, and also gets a new book. The same Dark somehow traps Nick in his plan and keeps him captive so that he can blackmail Mike into giving him the book, but Nick refuses to reveal Mike's identity. So Dark posts a video of his kidnapping on Nick's channel, from which Mike comes to know that his friend is in danger. Mike quickly picks up the Crying Man's book and wears his costume and arrives at Dark's house, where Mike meets Dark's mother and reaches Dark in the basement where he had captured Nick. Then Mike calls the Crying Man to fight, and the Crying Man also starts fighting with Dark's mummy girl. And taking advantage of this opportunity, Mike started to free Nick and take him away. But at that moment, Dark appears in front of him, and he was also there with his lightsaber sword to save himself from him. Mike picks up the most expensive toy from his toy collection, and he also throws it away. Dark throws his sword and quickly cages his toy, but then Dark's mother brings something to eat, because of which Dark's attention gets diverted and the toy falls from his hand. Now here Dark starts shouting at his mother because his toy fell due to her arrival. But seeing this, the Crying Man gets very disappointed and his tears flood the entire house. Now, due to using so much power, both Crying Man and Mike were very tired, due to which Crying Man goes back to his book, but Mummy Girl was about to attack Mike. Then Mike sees Black Knight's book and calls him here. Black Knight starts fighting with Mummy Girl, but Mummy Girl ties Black Knight, but Black Knight calls many of his friends, due to which Mummy Girl was defeated. After losing, Mummy Girl goes to her book and Mike goes there with Nick. When Dark comes to his senses, he sees that Mike has taken many of his books. That's why Spark sees his book and decides to bring back all his books with his help. After which we see that Dark is roaming alone on the road when some bad guys start harassing him. So Dark decides to take Spark's help, but due to Spark's lighting attack, the light of the whole place goes off. But even then, those bad guys did not stop, and he was still more angry with Dark. But then an unknown girl comes there and kills those bad guys and saves Dark. After this, we see that now everyone started getting superhero comic books, which some people were using for their own fun, due to which wrong works had increased a lot in the whole town. Then we see Mask Girl, who along with her hero Gravity was catching a thief. Then Mike also comes there because he also wanted to help, but Masked Girl refuses to take Mike's help. But while catching the thief, a bus goes out of control and they were about to fall into the water together. So Mike takes the help of Mummy Girl and stops the bus, but Mummy Girl has to use a lot of her power to stop the bus, due to which Mike also got very tired and he falls unconscious. And while falling, Mike also drops the Crying Man's book. And when he regains consciousness, he sees that the Crying Man is not with him. He was very disappointed because of this. Next day in school, Mike comes to know that he has to work with Lucy on the history project, because of which he was very happy. But before starting the project, Lucy and Mike decide that they will first go to eat something and then start working. Then both of them come to a comic book store, and Lucy starts looking at the books. But then a strange man comes there, and the shop owner tells that this man comes here every day for some magical hero book. But today his wish is fulfilled because today he got the book of Silk Fairy. Now, without wasting time, that man starts using the power of Silk, due to which he was also creating a lot of problems for the people. And then the man orders Silk to create a huge tornado in which everything is getting destroyed. Mike also started getting pulled into that tornado, but Lucy tries to save him by putting her life in danger. But now both of them start pulling him towards the tornado. Mike understands that there is only one way to escape, and he will have to use his books. So Mike calls Mummy Girl and saves Lucy from her. But Mike knew that to stop Silk, he will have to reach her book. That's why Mike comes alone in the tornado and stops that tornado by taking Silk's book. Then with the help of Mummy Girl, both of them come down comfortably. And then here, Lucy promises Mike that she will not let anyone know Mike's secret. Then we see Mike's mother, who is a journalist who has started to understand that whatever is happening in the city, there must be some supernatural power behind it. That is why Mike's mother goes to her boss and asks him to write about all this in his paper. After this, we see Mike, at whose house the Masked Girl came to meet him. But Mike comes to know that the Masked Girl has actually come take his books from him. And then the Masked Girl calls the Crying Man to fight with Mike, but the Crying Man did not want to fight with his old friend, but he has to obey his master, and he starts attacking Mike. Mike calls Mummy Girl, and they start running away from there. But Mike cannot run far, and Mummy Girl defeats Crying Man. Seeing this, Mask Girl calls the other hero Gravity as well. And this was the first time Mike had seen that someone had called two heroes together. Now, none of Mike's heroes can defeat Gravity, and Mike is about to lose, but then he sees that he has taken the book of Crying Man from Mask Girl, and now with the help of Crying Man, Mike wins. And Mask Girl falls unconscious due to Crying Man's attack, and Mike sees that Mask Girl is actually Lucy. The next day, Lucy calls Mike to talk to her alone and tells him that the author of all these books, Scout, is Lucy's uncle. And Lucy has been reading her uncle's comic books since childhood. But after some time, Lucy's father stopped her from meeting her uncle because he did not want Lucy to waste all her time on comic books, and she could not become a successful person. And then after a long time, Mike got a letter from his uncle in which it was written that he should keep his comic books in a safe place because wrong people can misuse them. And when Lucy came back to her uncle's house, all the books had disappeared from there and only one Gravity book was left. That's why Lucy started collecting books from everyone. Then Nick comes out from under a table, who was very surprised to hear all this. He tells that the people with hero books have formed a team and they are attacking everyone so that they can capture the whole city. Then Mike and his friends reach the place of attack where Dark was also present. Who was the leader of that team? He tells everyone that with the help of the power of heroes, they will create a new world. Now, Mike starts fighting with the Crying Man, but none of the Crying Man's attacks were of any use because a plant was stopping all the attacks of the hero Crying Man. And then a Lighting Man comes, who, after seeing the Crying Man's passion, makes him suffer a lot, due to which Mike has to call back the Crying Man. Then Lucy helps Mike, but there were so many villains that they were unable to do much. Mike and Lucy also start losing. Then Gravity creates a shield, which gives them all some time. Then Mike creates a very big tornado with the help of Silk and with the help of Gravity's power. He does a very big blast there, due to which all the villains become unconscious. Now, Dark was not able to see himself losing, so he calls Starkus and brings all the electronic vehicles nearby, and with one attack of sparks, he is about to do such a big blast in them that the whole city can get destroyed. But Mike could not let this happen. That is why he uses all the power of his mind, and he calls all his heroes together. And by using all their power together, Mike sends all those electronic vehicles far away into the sky, so that the blast does not have much effect on the city. Now here, all the superheroes together had won the fight, and finally we see Scout. He was very happy because Lucy finally completed her work, and with this, the movie ends here. Thanks for watching. See you soon with a new movie explain video. Till then, stay happy and chill out. If you like the video, please like it. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe and press the bell icon and tell us in the comments section how you like this video.